Gumbo Jumde Dishin Rajumbo Yandabo Zobe Rebo Don Shabzun Demba Devora Shebo Jide Jembo Kewu Duwe Kalu Lana Meba Hada Menanji Jumbo Sanji Jumde Debe Jewo Shaja Tupala Chedo Jazo Chewo Dumbo Jumde Dishin Shebo Rajumbo Yandabo Zobe Ribada Jazo Deba Devara Sheva Jide Jemba Jewu Duwe Kaloji Lana Meba Lana Menange Jemba Sange Jembe Peje Wa Shaja Duba La Chaze Lo Chudu Jazo Jewu Deba Jembe Pishin Sheba Rajumba Yandaba Zobe Sange Ribada Jazo Devara Sheva Jide Jemba Jewu Duwe Kaloji Lana Meba Lana Menange Jombo Sanje Jomde Debe Gyewa Shakya Tupa La Chaza Chudu Jazu Jewo Kande Kanye Zo Jitande Sajen Dela Goba Dupa Ngane Jide Nina Chuje Zo Pete Gyewa Gyula Chaza Nanda Kuma Chudu Susan Wa Ishi Gyasu Sege Lumbo Taba jide suna lame wa kumbu jini jala cha senja nemba jime dawe cha senbo chawa jala cha duje juna seba suma je nyame chinji jala cha kumbu tuje jinde ba tamje kembe damba sona yende jazo je tejin chela cha Dāve dējā trevā gyure gyure nyezon le Chidu dēdān dūgyurba shīgyur gyurba chā Chone chove lāyān dēn lāpa dālā rāndēn Shīgye dāmbā yendē dēn kindu lāyān chā Dēbā chīyān bēchā shī gyevā pūsūn tsobarī Rāgī sēne yōnsu tēne sāngye tēmāyī Karma rīma mēdāng gyūmā sēvā chūrī Mēlā lōdāng jīdā mū tūjē chēnāng dērātā Sānāng dēyē tāngchē sīpā yī gōvāng kyōni jījī chātā Tēne gādāng nātā chīvē lāpchūlē Sīvē sōlē rōvāng 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 To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for worship. When a supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you faced out 7 strides, and said, I am supreme in this world. To you, who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Your immaculate 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path of liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble,
a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. He conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the fall of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Obo Gunjo Zola, Cha Tsebo, Tige Dada, Toba Duji, Chunden de Gebe Go, Jago, Kumbo Rila, Gelo, Gelu Chenbo, Anju Sembe, Gelu Chenbo, Tawa, Jibu, Shudu, Teze, Chunden de Sarmon, Shejawe, Shuje, Nanda, Ji, Tengen, Zenla, Nyoboro, Shuso, Yang, Tize, Janju, Semba, Semba, Pava, Chirese, Onju, Shera, Jibaru, Chimbo, Samu, Chiba, Nila, Namara, Tashi, Kumbo, Mabu, Teta, Rashi, Ji, Tombara, Namara, Tao, Kene, Sanji, Jitu, Tsena, Demba, Sheri, Go, Janju, Semba, Semba, Pava, Chirese, Onju, La, Dege, Meso, Rigi, Go, Gala, Shera, Jibaru, Samu, Chiba, Chiba, Deba, Deji, Labara, Cha, Dege, Meba, Janju, Semba, Semba, Pava, Chirese, Onju, Ge, Tsena, Demba, Sheri, Dade, Bola, Dege, Meso, Sheri, Bo, Rigi, Bo, Rigi, Bo, Gala, Shera, Jibaru, Chiba, Samu, Chiba, Chiba, Deba, Dibber number Tawa, Chate, Umbo, Ngabo, Deda, Naya, Shinji, Tomara, Yandava, Jesu, Tao, Su Tomba, Tomba, Ni, Su, Sule, Tomba, Ni, Shemai, Tomba, Hele, Jan, Su, Shemai, no, Peshin, Lu, Tsora, Ni, Shida, Nishi, Namara, Sheba, Na, Tomba, O, Shari, Gu, Deda, Chetan, Tomba, Nidi, Tsini, Majeba, Magaba, Tima, Meba, Tima, Dan, Tewa, Tewa, Kawa, Meba, O, Shari, Gu, Deda, Wena, Tomba, Nila, Sume, Toame, Dishime, Dijime, Namara, Sheba, Mime, Name, Cheme, Lume, Yime, Sume, Dame, Time, Rome, Rija, Cheme, Do, Mege, Kame, Bane, Ige, Kanje, Bado, Yame, Do, Mariba, Me, Mariba, Seba, Gaji, Gaji, Sebe, Bado, Yame, Do, Deshen, Dunga, Watan, Kunju, Obada, Lame, Isheme, Toba, Me, Madoba, Yame, Do, Sheribu, Dadawa, No, Chanju, Toba, Mebe, Chir, Shiraji, Barudu, Chimbala, Teji, Dede, Semla, Tiba, Java, Mede, Chinji, Lolo, Shindu, Dele, Yangele, Debe, Tara, Tuzu, Do, Namra, Jube, Sangi, Tamji, Jashirage, Barudu, Chimbala, Ten, Nana, Meba, Yandaba, Zobe, Janju, Do, Mokara, Zobar, San, Yesu, Dawana, Shiraji, Barudu, Chimbe, Ma, Riba, Chimbe, Ma, Lana, Mebe, Ma, Minya, Bada, Nyambe, Dunga, Tanje, Radu, Shiva, Jibe, Ma, Mizu, Buena, Demba, Shepa, Shirage, Barudu, Chimbe, Ma, Meba, Dayata, Gade, Gade, Para, Sangade, Buddhi, So, Sharibu, Janju, Sempa, Sempa, Jimbo, Deda, Shirage, Barudu, Jimbo, Samola, Labara, Javu, Dene, Jomde, Tengenze, Dele, Shede, Janju, Sempa, Sempa, Baba, Jereze, Wanjula, Leso, Shejawa, Jene, Leso, Leso, Riki, Hu, Tede, Shinde, Chidere, Chuji, Tembo, Shindu, Shirage, Barudu, Jimbo, Samola, Deshi, Sheba, Nabia, Jesu, Yirano, Jomde, Deke, Deke, Teka, Tene, Sedan, Demba, Shari, Tate, Anju, Semba, Semba, Jembo, Baba, Jereze, Wanjudan, Chamjedan, Dembe, Kore, Dedadan, Hadam, Ama, Yedan, Tisara, Jebe, Jide, Yirande, Chomde, Deke, Sumba, Momba,
Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shantideva spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, How should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke in the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son that out of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature. Form is empty, emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, karmic formations and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Saripatra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to, there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. And because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that comes all suffering should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. Sayanta Gade Gade Paragande Parasamgande Bodhisattva. Oshariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. Wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So ends the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
보고기다 전주구 진짜대 차대 열었으면 전주구 진짜대다 전주구 진짜대다 개침보대 마음대로 가르치는구나 줘봐 그래서 고슴이 줘봐대 아니 장주세배 줘봐봐 틈발로 보야 아니 냠내라다 로버치야게 치도라 아니 전주구 송배겠다 아니 장주세 나로를 줘봐대게 퇴바다 상가 공백권을 라바치고 열어서
It is Thursday now, the Thursday lecture in the way of the Bodhisattva. This class in the way of the Bodhisattva, an important class for us, is important for us for the reason that our actions, any given person's actions of body, speech, and mind, would become consistent with the actions of the Bodhisattva. And in order for this to be achieved, one studies and contemplates and cultivates these actions.
Oh, yeah, 아이 고승기 쪄발라 보야 고 인생 가르스는다 고승기 쪄바기 고승기 쪄바디 안 쪄바 레 고승기 쪄바 컨디시 틈바 있나야 다 계획 초로 더 투야 대화 두백이 줄 더 투야 동해 마중이야기 더 유가야 더 투야 지게 대지기 냠내지 딱 알아서 치고 요래했습니다.
For our actions to conform to the way of the Bodhisattva is an end that we would train in for the reason that insofar as our physical, verbal, and mental actions are consistent with the way of the Bodhisattva, then they are invariably cause for well-being, and prevent pain and never become cause for pain. And this is our reason then.
뭐야? 다 인제 나서 그 수기 되봐. 민들 봐. 나서 링이 되고도 링이 되고면도 없어야겠다. 칸에 데리지라고 여러 셈네 데리지 챙기여. 아니 수수가 나래 나라야. 되봐다 민들봐 니니 데리지 연구 여러서.
We, each one of us, has our wants, our desires, and those things that we wish to avoid. We want this, we don't want that. We say it that way, we think it that way, and in our practice as well, there is that which is desirable and that which is not.
뭐야? 세상다 되봐다. 민들봐. 다 되봐다 되고도봐서도 다 아주 시그널을 되봐 민들봐. 다 되봐 대화 민들봐 동에서 다 뜻이 얘기 여러서.
So then, what is explained is what is wanted versus what is not. What is desirable versus what is undesirable. What is desirable is well-being. What is undesirable is pain.
뭐일까? 지금 어디 된다 말로 직실해서 되봐 미되봐 대화 동에서 다 디시 나로 개발 간제 요소를 수수고 세미나 초하나 예배시는 되봐다 대화 미되봐다 동에서도 나로 개발 간제를 요소를 디직 야고 선배나가 수수고 영화토라 레바 좋나 아니 신에 아니 다 되봐 가르래 미되봐 가르래 신에 제주야게 아니 나가대 그래서 담가도 열해서
So I've said 4 words: desirable, undesirable, satisfaction, dissatisfaction. Within those 4, what feeling can you get regarding what they involve when we say desirable, undesirable, satisfaction, dissatisfaction? Drawing from experience, what is the sense that you have of these? Follow this for an exploration, and then a choice you may make.
이제 세상다 배당 아주 유용한 아주 미세게 나라 수술로 되어봐지 중화 되어봐지 그게 중화다 레바다 가르치고 삼바 가리나야 아니 나는 셈을 되어요 되어지 소비요 미되바데 레온데 아니 셈나 마테바 아니 동에기 좋아서 레고요 그러나서 다디 되어봐데 단 대화니부터 초치를 샤 미되바도 동에니부터 초치를 샤와이나 아니 다 가르치고 살아야지 아니 수속 셈나 좋아 가르치고 되지 somos 나와야지
Ordinarily, in life, when something desirable is gotten, experienced, it is felt, and the feeling is of pleasure. And when one meets with something unwanted, it is unpleasant and it is painful. So we may put to one side that which is desirable and satisfaction, and on another, that which is undesirable and is dissatisfaction and pain, and think clearly on that.
저기 냠낸 지하게다 리바티게 간가 다 대신에 대화도 동에 대화도 미대바 디나 아니 다 삼모타네 아니 다 대화도 대화 가르래 대화도 동에 가르스다 디니 삼모타네 칸에 제와 당국은자 렌제국이네자 삼로나 소아나 삼국이네자 가르치고 있는다 냠낸디 단다 보고 냠낸 지고야지 대화도 미대바 대화도 동에 되게 리베나다 나도 냠낸 지고야 그래 마찬가지로 디나는 영어를 해서
And in practice then, these 4, namely satisfaction that is desirable and dissatisfaction that is undesirable, pleasure which we want, displeasure which is unwanted. We think in these terms. When we're asked, we can supply answers in these terms. And then in our practice too, just right there between what is wanted and what is unwanted, in terms of pain and pleasure, all activities would be drawn into those practices.
Oh, yeah, 되어봐 수숙 얘기 되어봤대 수숙 되어봐죠 되어봤대라 아니 가리 되어 그래 가리 되고 말해 싸면서 되어봤대 내가 내고 왔다 아니 가리 되어 그래 되고 말고 믿어봐 가리 되어봐 가리했어 아 되어봤다 거래 손씨
Each person with their wants, with their desires, we may then ask, what is wanted? What is unwanted? What is desirable? What is undesirable?
Oh, yeah, 그래서 되어봤대 내가 되어봤대 대화 아니 믿어봤대 동의했어 그 타치 아 랜드리 그래서
And the answer is definitively given. Satisfaction is desirable. Dissatisfaction and pain is undesirable.
다 된다 다 대화 대화도 가르래 믿음의 동행도 가르했어 이마 대해서 저 이것을 그래서
And again, an additional question is, what is the desirable satisfaction? And what is the undesirable dissatisfaction?
예, 그래서 다 된다지 다 지네 다 하게 대화도 있어지 땅 유도 아니 대화들라 다 대화 나로 대화들라 아니 림바 망고지 이어봐지 다 림바 망고 이어봐지 아니 림바 디나는 다 림바 상로 다 림바 상원 대화 체험도 충화세계 그 시초를 대화 상황도 대화 녀바세 그 시초를 제산다 간다 되게 림바 이 대화들이야 나로 대화가 나라 치중 림바 망고실래요 그래서
And there now, too, upon examination, satisfaction itself is found to be of many kinds and different intensities, varying in excellence, in quality, in intensity.
동해라야 동해 치중 림바 대화를 여반다지 동해라야 치중 림바 되가라 연구를 해서
And in just the same way, there is the range found too in dissatisfaction.
예, 제가 다 들레 이들 단단하다 전주 냠내시도 대화 시연도 다 대화 친구 세계다 대화 친구들 모두 체 지난 대화 친구 그 모두 지기요 다 대화 친구들 뭘 쳐봐라 아니 이 대화 전화도 충분히 줘야 뭐 맞춰나 대화 친구들 친구이 뭐 뭐시야게 아니 답이요 말해서
And so now, in the way of the Bodhisattva, when we speak of satisfaction, it is, in fact, of great bliss, and great bliss is introduced here. And when an introduction is made to great bliss, there will be no realization of what it entails without some familiarity with lesser forms of satisfaction.
그래. 다 대화 첨부 승이지. 다 대화 첨부 전주고 셈지 셈이 전주고 셈 개발을 때네. 아니 다 거기 대화 톱으로 대화디 다 대화 첨부 톱식이 줄었어.
And that great bliss is realized by the direction of the awakening mind of bodhicitta. Based upon its arising, one achieves great bliss. It is its cause.
예, 그러다 이제 다 대화 첨부디 전주고 셈이 Simbegi ani rangi ta dribujo dile dewa chimbo siming za chou re se. Ta dine dewa dile jinga samlo tang ina chanchu gu simgi samlo tang mogwa se. Ani susu ta rang ji kowa ta. Ani dungenge rangshin zu yabu sheba se. Dungenge dodang zu yabu sheba se. Ani dungenge tardo gu samba ge. Samba tegi wangi ani dungenge dribu kanchi chunga ina ya. 아니 내가 drink 모든 지금 해서
Then great bliss may be characterized as the result of the direction given from the awakening mind of Bodhisattva. And lesser forms of satisfaction that are not Bodhisattva, the awakening mind itself, involve generally the thorough understanding of cyclic existence as intrinsically painful, and involves the thought to liberate oneself from that pain, and when that is caused, the consequences which result from the thought are a moderate form of satisfaction.
뭐다? 세디기 랑이 내가 비미드베 동에 나는 샘을 맞지바 남자 지자 룰 나자 오다 레빈 그 동행이 탈 동행이 나는 동행이 마스베세 다 동행을 타러도 아니 동행 타래 내가 그 동행을 타러봐다 아니 랑 치마 치미로기 동행 되돌 동행을 시상받지 삼배 권에 오다 동행 되지 이게 수요 독상 말이게 송 동행을 타러봐 치고 두 삼백이 아니 삼바티기 왕 삼바티기 심바세 되게 심베기 아니 지구 컨디션 있나야 아니 더 충스 뜻이 그래서
Seeing undesirable pain, terror, anxiety of disastrous hell realms, and recognizing the pain found there, and recognizing that such pain is intolerable, and then intending to escape, to avoid and escape such pain, where this motivation directs one's actions, their consequences are the lesser forms of satisfaction.
괜찮다. 감사. 아주 빼자 고랑이 토네. 아니 대화 친구 대화 등 대화 충무스. 아니 다 모두 지다가 삼로 땅사기 좀 받을 되지 알아서.
And following the texts, we have these characterizations of great bliss and moderate satisfaction and lesser satisfactions.
이니 말 셰바 나라도 세디기 삼로타나야 아니 세디기 아니 라미 동에 아니 셈나다 바게 민두바게다 두바다 체베 동에 미두바다 체베 동에 두바다 체베 동에 아니 나 나라도 미진나다 동에 좀 망보지요 동에 게다 토다 가진 것도 라미시도 신예되나 동해 주 삼바의 개 삼바들이 요하다 어떤 진짜게 동해 미지 찌기 나라 수주고 개가 나지기 동해 어다 릴레 포안이야 차라가 봐도 다 망고 요래 손았지.
And in this life, the pains of any given person, those that are unwanted encounters and partings from that which is desirable, all of the kinds of pain, such as 8 forms of pain and 6 forms of pain, as they're outlined in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, and the pain of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Among these, we have a range in pain and dissatisfaction.
거의 다 동행이다. 간다 동행의 대화를 찾아보고 좀바디 그런 되지체. 다 이들 말하는 다 동행 대화 허벌 제발라 동행 세 동행이 봐 매번 맞으나 아니 동행고 대요네 대화 용사를 말하고 제자다 동행이 봐 세니 아니 대화 토벌 치고 요래스 다 나가 되려서
So, to present pain and pleasure in this way, in order to recognize that in order to find satisfaction, pains must be removed. There's no place for satisfaction where there is pain, so our purpose to eliminate pain.
근데 이제 좀 다 맞아. 아무 동행이 뭐 뭐시 동행 뭐 쳐봐지. 동행 뭐 쳐더니 동행 뭐 시에서나 아니 동행이 매버서야 탑시죠. 동행이 매버서야 살지라 아니 다 대화 그런데 랩사 대화 동행이 매버 맞잖아. 대화 랩사 사진 매버도 어디래. 제가 이제 아무 동행 제부 동행 매버서와 저거고요. 제부 동행이 매버 차봐라. 동행이 가능시 유 아니 군중대 매버서 맞구나. 아니 제부 동해 매버서 투에 매버 이들 아니 다뭐 주군중대 가까 까사지라 제부 동해 가까와 지고 차대 해서
The first priority then is to recognize pain as the pain it is. When it is recognized as pain, then one may begin to treat, to remove the pain. And when the pains are removed, then there naturally is satisfaction. There's no place for satisfaction where pain is in its place, and therefore one looks to eliminate pain and finds that the elimination of pain is ensured by the elimination of the cause of pain, the cause of origins to pain. When these causes are removed, the removal of a cause is the same as the elimination of its result of pain.
다 대제기다 제부 동해 유 아니 군중 다 매버 차게 타고 좀 봐시는데 다 rim바시단데라 아니 냠렘바 수수수수도 옹보다 참바치네 냠렘이 좀 망고도 있고요. 그래서
The consequences are pain of the causes for pain in the origin of pain. To eliminate such pains, there are stages of practice involved and suited to the diversity among practitioners.
나 옹보 노드고 림바스 라운데 옹보 뇌바다 옹보 팅 옹보 뚜스 다 림바디 레고 림바디 레운데 다 옹보 뇌고스데 다 간다르 코기 주디 남랍 사바다 제부 주부 유르바 루토니데라 옹보 뇌고스 유디 주바 되제 망보 거니 유디 주네 이제 제부 송하라 뒤즈데스 망아 거니데라 옹보 팅체 다 주어 가래 전주 제부대들을 진대로 용하게 되게 좀 남이들라 옹보 뒤고스다 그다한테 되지 거야 그래서
The keenness of the practitioner is reflected in the sharpness of their faculties. They may be very keen, less keen, or insensitive. And when they are very keen, very intelligent, this involves for them quick action regarding causes and quick consequences realized in results. For the individual of less keenness, more time is required involved in the cause, more time required for consequences to be borne out. And for the individual least sensitive in their intelligence, a great deal of time, very gradually spent, is involved in the cause, and so too in the realization of the result.
딱 인디 저 동점 나용디 다 간데슬라고 했으나 공부료부터 저기 라비아게 아니 라비아게다 림바텔라 아니 제부 상아 도지게 봐세 다 공부도 뒤에 개와 장면만 못 쳐서는 배 간다 개바지는 소사 도체는 예 제부 두가 진행되라 유 바로도 집에 대바스 유 바로도 집에 대바단 제부 도지 대바스 어다 동계는 뭐니 제일 요래서
To summarize it, then, one may put it this way, that for those of keenest faculty, they may train in stages of the great adamantine vehicle of the secret mantrayana, and those of duller faculties will be involved in an eon by eon arduous practice of the causal paramita vehicle.
뭐야 나 먼저 보다 안 라면나 아니 지금 밖에 못 받는 시험들 공부 뛰고 남기도다 이 배제전 장면 숨도 초사데 아니 탈산지 고반 토래 그런 것 뭐 송네 아니 슈라 아니 다 공부 능고 잘하는 뭐 슈를 숨고 열어서
In the untuk bien lam maksudnya untuk bien lam no untuk bien parece lam rinda ani ngobad
ngomba 니가 여 ngomba 고 ngomba 제스 ngomba kudu
in the context of the graded stages on the path to enlightenment and the Abhidharma, implied in the presentation of a path involving 3 incalculable eons for the realization of the result, is that swifter vehicle.
뭐야 나 제부 도지 티베 가서라 아니 세직 유지가 아니 산지지 고간 두배 여바데 뭐서 때네 아니 슈라 아니 아니 좀 바치네 장애 여바데 된 거여서
And there in the secret mantrayana, explicit is the treatment of a practice for the realization of the result with one body and one lifetime, and the presentation of the stages of practice.
다 간단하고 다 오고 녀복 람지 다 람도 로다스나미도 간단한 대화도 단콜 제시 개원도 담막 제시 람도 단 제시 개기 여러와 제시 개기 여바인도 다 가르치어 버렸어도 뭐다 다 말아서 셈게 남샤 도당 셈 처럼 보시 버도 당게 아니 남샤 때나 봐 아니 데이팅네 아니 셈 참고 때네 아니 다 냠내지다 좀 같이 시고요 그래서
For those of keenest faculty, whether we call it the trainings in which they are involved, or the means for the achievement of bliss in which they are involved, it is the secret mantrayana that is their path. It is, isn't it? And when it is, and we explain it so, what does that entail? But first, the putting into place of a science of mind so that subtle minds may be exercised through practice.
Oh, yeah. What is she on do? What is she not? The shepherd is the Madonna. Jebu, Manzo, Jebu, Kusum, your Jebu Tuja, Tuyagi, Tuja de la, Jebu Kusum. Take Dumie de la, Jonje de la, Lam Ribani. And a Jayagi she, Kishi for the Sums. That the digit was shaggy or as much.
In this explanation, then, how is the explanation made? The explanation involves the resultant state, the state of realization, that are the three resultant Buddhabandhas, with their causes that are the two stages, and the site of their exercise, birth state, death state, and intermediate state.
Oh, yeah, that they do. That Candice Chiona said them that Jonshi della, Kishi Pardusum state, Tawakia, Shiva Pardusum. Joed, you she did that Kishi Pardusum de Resonas.
So then, how does it proceed then? The basis, the site for the exercise of these, for the realization of their results, are birth state, death state, and intermediate state.
Oh, yeah, that Kishi Pardusum de la Yang, they see the Kishi Pardusum. Tadawe Kishi Pardusum, Mahoma, the Jung, Juve Kishi Pardusum, or Ribatisum, your essence.
Of birth states, death states, and intermediate states, there are already past birth states, death states, and intermediate states. Presently ongoing birth state, death state, and intermediate state, and future birth state, death state, and intermediate states to come.
Oh, yeah, Jaya Money Karesna, Jungurki, Kishi Pardusum de la Jango, your essence.
Jungshimba. Jungshimba Mare. And the real site for the exercise are those birth, death, and intermediate states to come.
Oh, yeah, Jumush and the Jumush Shimbegi, Kishi Pardusum de la Jaya Jang Kabo, Jang Kaware, that Jaya you see what the inner Jang Shira Kaware. That Jang Money Jungurik de la Tandala City Resonance.
While there are the presently occurrent birth state, death state, and intermediate state, exercising them, while perhaps possible, is certainly difficult. So the focus is upon those to come.
Oh, yeah. That Karig Jangor is not Lamrimik, Kirim the Zorimik Jangor Resonance.
What is exercised in these two, generation stage and completion stage?
That Kirim Tarani, what the Tamani Younger Resonance.
Within generation stage, there is the coarse stage and the subtle stage.
Oh, yeah, that Kirim Rabasidi, Tamazu same thing is in Matobegi. Same Rabak thing, Kishi Patusum Jansona, Kirim Rabba Resonance.
The coarse generation stages are those exercised before one has mastered samadhi and before yet mastering samadhi exercises in birth state, intermediate state, and death state.
that thing is simple tone. 아니, 다 기름 공수나 기름 참으라 그래서.
When samadhi is mastered and directs the exercises, then these are subtle generation stages.
근데 이번에 기름 탈진사는 조름을 발려 그래서.
With the completion of the generation stage, one naturally arrives at completion stage.
기름 코랑 기름 공부야 코랑 조름 민식 주의다. 기름 탈진은 아니 조름을 깨요 그래서.
The purpose of exercising generation stage is to causally ripen conditions for the resultant completion stage.
다 조름을 나이 당월 루예 좀 봤지. 아니 나이 기름 봐세. 네 세메 기름 봐세. 아니 네 세메 기름 봐세. 아니 현지의 세계를 봤어. 다 조름을 봐놨어. 마샤니 두샤니 시샤니 그래 막고 열어서
Completion stage involves physical isolation, verbal isolation, mental isolation, and meaning clear light. These 4, other times 5, other times 6. Sometimes the enumerations differ, but the meaning is always the same. kusumde hani zuguni
추구체 수군이
뭐죠?
시대지 고상 농군이야 추구다 수구들 농구다
zuguni chugu식
추구다 수군이
That suffices now for the generation and completion stage. With the realization of generation and completion stage, then the realization of the 3 Buddha bodies, 2 form bodies, 1 dharma body.
하나가 꾸순디 다비 테스트 제대로나서 꾸순디 다가도 유마도 요다 꾸순디라 대시 잡서 하다도 꾸순세디 류마 예순 아니 꾸순도 규명 꾸순저 데려다 소도지 소디 산제 콜지 주로와 아니 아제 예순 꾸순 산제 꾸순도 데려다
The Kabden Digi.
갑자기 되게
But a clarification regarding the 3 Buddha bodies. Just now, the presentation of 3 Buddha bodies was the general presentation. Here, especially for us, are 3 Buddha bodies that are the Buddha body that results from body, speech, and mind. Therefore, these 3 Buddha bodies.
this is 정시 계시 봐도 숨 존재 남지를 봐니 정을 제부 구스문시네 남지를 봐 로비아다 롭사시 로베 제부 어디 모두지 살지에서
With that, then, the basis for the exercises in birth state, death state, and intermediate state, following the 2 paths for the realization of the 3 Buddha bodies. So in this way, we have the resultant state, the path, and the basis here now presented.
뭐야? 이제 남들이 봐 찔러 때네 아니 남들이 봐 야매 지용도 아니 다 니들이 세동직 세직 류직라 아니 산제지 고바 구순 니에투야 아니 송주대 고바 토바들 송주지 고바세 그래 오야디 아
다리고 뭐?
송주 모두 제가 고바서 아들라 람들라 람 사모 리미지스 람 리미지 람지 투주스 송주 그베 아니 람 리미 사모스 민데레스타 그래서
Remini.
Remigi lamsa mos ni tagareso.
Based upon this path in the Kali Yuga, in one lifetime, with one body, one may realize the unified state. And for this reason, these series of practices are known as the excellent two-stage path.
Oh, that the day lambi riba did that lambi lover chevala. Da Jongshi da. Da and Jongshi kusumki namsha. Da kochaya den shira ke kusumki namsha kocha with the tambo kechibu chade or
Now for our training then, familiarity with these bases, the resultant state of three Buddha bodies, the overall framework is critically important, familiarity with which I introduce you.
Oh yeah, that and the 제부 kusumji kocha bala. Da pake 제부 kusum topjiki yu lam rinpa che. Ani rinpa ki ten jansaki shikeshi padu sum. O tindeki rinpa shaya tela ta tangbo chiwe rinpa shikche. Tene pardu dhruve rinpa she. Tene kisi kiawa len kisi ki rinpa she. Ta rinpa sumdi. Ani che kore sumdi.
The resultant state is the threefold Buddha body, realized through the excellent two-stage path, exercised on the basis of death state, intermediate state, and birth state. This explanation is important.
Oh, yes, that Tinani Tambodi Karasna, Chivari, but a Chirim Grimba, Yapochi, Koa Machana, Ani that Lung Durinda, Ani Tine, that Pagay, Amji Riba, Ya Shuchimu, the Soa, the Rang Soya, the left to Yak, that is all Chirimdi, Tambo Keshu child, the Chirim Tambo Shiva Resons.
That base exercised upon, that is, death state, is presented first. It is critically important to comprehend what is involved in the dissolution of the moving winds. For the understanding of the dissolution of the moving winds will allow for experience and integration into practice.
Oh, yeah, that he did some another God says, no? That the day lam yams rimba lenyegi, and it ain't that for the children, Shishi Batu Sumbi, Lambi Riba, to Jang Tuniki, Tendila, 아니 가르지 거래에서 그래서 뭐 시험도 아니 내지 감투 대생이지 아 되지 나도 내지 감투 대생이 되게 겨울에 뭐 거래에서 뭐지
감죽 단 봐.
감투기
미기 때.
맞아
미대야.
알았어 나디다 람즈바 가도 대시 보도속에 람즈리 말 롭투니기 땡겨와
그래, 진지로.
땡디 아니 많이 니도 겨울에 감투가 되게 되게
맞아.
가사지 렌토고 생기 렌토고 말했어요 해서
Then to practice this particular path exercised on the bases that are death state, intermediate state, and birth state, an individual with the capacity to engage in such exercises is necessary. Such a basis for such exercises is found only in womb-born beings constituted of the 6 elements.
ora digo dice 되나 아니 바당아서 심지 겨울 내야 줘봐 겨울 내야 되나 겨울 내는데 아마도 에 주주기 또 비게 와서 저기 시제 되네 프로를 게 와서 저기 공안을 게 와서 아니에를 게 와서 겨울 낸다 근데 겨울 낸다 유림대로 어디 시어를 해서
We might put it this way, that there are ways that beings are embodied and born. The taking of birth may be done through magical birth, birth through heat and moisture, birth from an egg, or birth from a womb.
뭐야 세상 다 뒤에 깨와 조열이 깨와 공안이 깨와 숨대라 아니 단단하죠 라면 미지 냠을 발렌스야게 알레 내가 볼 시작해서 요 말해서
There is no explanation of the excellent 2-stage path that applies to beings which are magically born from heat, or born from an egg.
뭐야 이게 다 아주 단단한 시작해서 시바데 얘기했어요 얘는 많이 얘는 참 겨울에 아니 밖에 한다 come to the embassador 다 디나는 이제 기념되라 아니 아주 다 남기 로베 로 투고 여봐서 로베지 고급 여봐인지 다 뒤에 저기 그래서
So then, where we find ourselves is concerned with the first kind of birth from a womb, born into the womb of a mother and embodied there through 6 elements. Such an individual only is able to train in the excellent 2-stage path.
제가 다 알게 come true 시듯이 맞으면 너도 좀 와서 이제 come true 세대라 이제 come true 장가자단들 다다다 종아 시제 아니 자가 틀리지는 come true 라니 come true 장가자니 직체 야 팔레 토베 루바 강 코아숨체 말레 토베 시아빠와 차숨 어디로 감숨 장가자단이다 리니어에서 come true 장가자단
다들 판이 루바 강당 루바 강당
루바제 강지 코아
그렇구나. But now I won't be comfortable unless I also characterize the 6 elements. They are the 4 elements and the channels and the bindu. They involve the inheritance from the father of the bone, matter, the marrow, and seminal fluid, and from the mother, muscle, skin, and blood.
Oh yeah, it is maybe come to the corner, Jawani in Zula, and it time to take a tissue gaddy. The shady Javanashi, Yamlin the Chewa in a Chetway, Kobe over the chat.
Therefore, it is an explanation that applies to the individual constituted of these 6 dhatu, or these 6 elements.
Oh yeah, that you do that Karichavare, that gadget, Kavaler, that may come true, they come true, then be gone, that Javali, that Kayore, and it that Zambulin Tinala, Midi, and make come to Dengi. Do that, they make it, that Javali, the chat, your response.
In a me le simba, me my kin, yeah. Me my imba, me my imba. What follows then is to find where there are such individuals who are womb-born and constituted of these 6 dhatu. They are found in this world.
Oh yeah, that when you come to the Dembegi, that me Jawan the Villa, and it Yamid the Treshi Javina, and a Kotuya Yuba, Koana Jirangi Yamsu Nen Tuya Yuba, and a Namsu Langwayina, and it Jehu, the old Tobia Yuba. Oh, the Jake dance and what Tommy did that. Sabuli de Mire in on it that. Nasa Chipage Kandar. Juju la ni de zota digi tujana la yore yasmoch.
The human being constituted of these 6 dhatu is the sort of individual able to comprehend such practices, capable of such practices, and thereby capable of achieving their result in great bliss. And such individuals are found among those disciples to be tamed who are concerned with the way of the Bodhisattva.
Oh yeah, that you do that. Character, not that Dinima decision that on my young to do. That cast them around that around that they come but in all duty around Ibayina. That made you come to the Dembe, Gawal Lembati, and not to chat yours. That Mazuki any that and take Lams Niggas. That Lams Banila looked where Yobata, Lava Yina, and the Jebu Kusun to wear Yobata, look to Yidi, and Mazu to Yina, do to need the Mazu chat your response.
And following the line of this very explanation, to hear and those of us, we who are gathered here in this building, each one of us is a womb-born individual constituted of the 6 dhatu, capable of practicing the 2-stage path. And should we practice the 2-stage path, then we will achieve the result that are the 3 Buddha bodies, we are they.
야. 아니 굉장히 당보들다. 아마도 냠내 사람이 냠내 지리나 지투야게 제일 춘제 사야게 춘제 당보디 어디 차대요. 그래서
For the practice of the two-stage path, requiring certain supportive conditions, we find these very supportive conditions.
야. 다리네 춘제 니버들 가리어서 나도 말하면서 랑기 냠내기 고속 냠내 지기 이버이나 아니 제약이 춘제 니버 추라도 나버시베 셔럽데 나도 돼요. 엄보마 상황 돼야 말해. 아니 다랑라 최 때문에 상계 최 지된도 내봐. 아니 최 때문에 마마 계획신이 여봐. 야, 다니네 한달 랑이 최 맞는 마도 제약이 그 상고 차상 이봐. 어떻게 이봐 어떻게 차상 상돼요. 그래서
And that second set of supportive conditions for individual practice, should one begin their practice, are the native intelligence or discriminating wisdom possessed by all of us. None find any disability regarding this discriminating intelligence. We find too in this set the Buddha who has visited the world and taught, and the teachings extant, existent, here still, and Kalyana Mitra, the gurus transmitting these teachings, present as well, making for the opportune moment of these set of supportive conditions.
다 진짜 숨바디 다르고 그래서나 랑이 디 루트야게 뉴바유바 랑 뉴바유바 차오라. 디 차야 지도로 아니 다 자주선배 줘봐라 라바세게. 다 자주선배 줘봐라 라베디 나가 되게 다 안달 내가 개치부지 지구고 유나 이 지도야게 차진지 보러 소소라. 디스다디 다 자주선배 줘봐라 라베디 차대요. 그래서
And that third condition, which is required, is the ability, a capacity in each person, which is made out of training in the way of Bodhisattvas. If there is a project, one has to bring about what one needs in themselves to realize it. And this training, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, is just that.
야, 다 디바도라. 다 냠내 신이 강사 수수라. 다 냠내 신이 땡디 칸데 랑르바니 냠스 라니 땡디 칸데지 보고 유메. 아니 랑르바니 냠스 랑바이나 랑 투고 유메. 아니 랑와가 차진 가르 보고 유메. 이디 모두 제가 인소지.
I have introduced here now what in each individual is required for training in the two-stage path by way of the endowment, that is the basis and support for the practice. And in terms of capacity or incapacity for such practices, this is that introduction.
야. 다디 모두듯이 다디는 참만주 가서 제가 참들이 먼저 다 치유를 받시고 이외에는 치유를 받으라 치유를 받려는데 심 라빠네 라빠도 주고라 틀치기 중앙식이 틀림시 얘네 심 참고가는 레온데 틀림시시네 먼저 틀림 계획을 받아서 냐면 세고 되고 대식 되고 되어서
That then is the introduction, and now we may pick up where we left off last week with the stages and the dissolution process at death, when coarse states dissolve into ever subtler states, physical states dissolving through the dissolution of 4 elements, 4 stages. And then when the subtler dissolution process begins, an additional 4 stages, for 8 stages of the dissolution process.
Oh yeah, that also you to be on that midi shiware segi sam sungya jigyor. That another the Yamin did rubbing into the chill rubbing shena, the Kuniboro death on by your resonance.
The ordinary moment for classifying a person as now deceased, to say of them they've now died, differs from where that line is drawn following the 8-fold dissolution.
Oh, that was to you, Jidina, chilling, you know, the member, and Jidina, what chiware segi, some sesadi, that's chi, Joanshi, Tilly, to Dusana, and then talk about chiwala. That's Chisasha saying that Samsung says your resonance.
The ordinary convention in medicine involves what is apparent after the completion of the dissolution of the 4 elements. It's at that point, with the completion of that process, that the determination is made the person is deceased.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, but this year, that any math under some chamu, but shene, and Nancy Thompson goes, but mash, there we are resonance.
In the context of this practice, the additional dissolution stages for the subtle mind involve these 3 of appearance, increase, and near attainment.
Oh, yeah, I think other cheese, body, Joanshi, Timlin, and to cousin to shit, this gets got under the name Sabotan, and we are in a cousin, I let him, but she the cousin she was Tepasha. That the name of the dream. That Timur Rabbi, same Rabbi Timur Dine, that same child to Timur, and it on now Cheba, and then Yeto. And you says that Bomba she said, same child Timur, but the Shigi or resonance.
And then the dissolution stages at death, the stages of coarse physical elements dissolving one into the next. The explanation of that process, though there's more depth to it, we will leave where we left it last and move to the dissolution of the coarse states of awareness into subtler minds and appearance, increase, near attainment, and clear light.
Oh, to say that he did not say talk some get that, but the Nancy Thompson land, and that Tim Shandu, Chi Tata Nagita Sanko, Shady, you're telling other than the Shebo, and then Nancy Thompson Senji, Kundo Jajus, Tangaskia or Peace, Tangati Makazil Jackie Yusons.
While there are external signs and internal markers of appearance, increase, and near attainment, we won't examine those just now, and instead, for now, explore the 80 conceptions which characterize these 3.
Oh, yeah, that was now, and then Kundo Changa Jaju by Indu, Jaju to the Nancy Thompson apart. She was a job. Koshe Jabdizamba, Nawala, 나와라 숨주 수비나 대쇼 나와라 숨주 수비 나와라 저 제자고 나와라 숨주 소숨 숨주 소숨제로와 나와라 숨주 소숨제 나와제 아니 체바라 시비 탐바제 얘도 류이제네 예주 탐바 어디 탐바 고세들이 자오래 손으시
The 80 conceptions are divided into conceptions characterizing appearance, increase, and near attainment. There are 33 of these 80 conceptions characterizing appearance, 40 characterizing increase, and 7 characterizing near attainment.
어이 아 예주 탐바 장가디 지자위나 예주 탐바데 장가자서디 다 거와 세세데 거와시에서나 다 바지 데려다 르나 오버르르게 조르 르나 요와 르나 나다 아니 데 장가디 야비어서 그렇지 어디 더 그래서 르나 오르나
When we enumerate 80 conceptions, we draw from Nagarjuna's 5 stages.
뭐야, 사디나는 시대 자도 시대 기본의 일지 교세다. 디라신 외세와 디네라도 셰버 차세 셰제체. 다 시작 가르스나 차제 단위 발만이 대신투니 전부다 일라 도시 온화다 양해라서 순대시 시당 남도 지바다 지바 방은 신두지 세가 세바 방마다 신두세가 내렘바 메게 째다 꼼니다 토다 소와 방마다 신두 소와 계지다 리버보다 린지 시사 수수도다 못하지 인지단에 때와 숨 도다 사다 니다네 차도 제비 차월 차 라시 숨주자 숨이야 류젠난지 랑릭때 어디 봐서 식숨이었다.
They are as follows. Their intrinsic natures elaborated, I will explain. Non-desire, moderate and great, mental going and coming, the 3 sorrows, likewise, peace, conceptualization, fear, moderate fear, great fear, craving, moderate craving, great craving, grasping, non-virtue, hunger, thirst, feeling, moderate feeling, instances of great feeling, cognizer, cognizing, and basis cognized, fine investigation, a sense of shame, compassion, the 3 degrees of affectionate love, hesitation, accumulation, jealousy, such are the 33 intrinsic natures, the self-knowing minds of embodied beings.
다들 공부시 자연식으로 지대 장을 해서
This is the scriptural support. For that reason, I draw from it.
뭐야, 다들 이게 골마 자가도 디스파 게르탄을 라나 디라지 이것도 디네를 셔봐서 차례 단에 있으리 차례 단세야 되나 아니 차보다 대화 셰바니 율을 믿으면 나머지 때 될라 천지 최소 숨 당으로 해서
Now to elaborate on these, 1 through 3 are called non-desire, which is a state of not wanting an object, and which has 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
그래서 차례단이 밤에 계시더니 전부 다 이제 다 일라 때 이지 좋아니 치 율을 바로 좋아 sem shebe yula pa, chi yula pa doa sede.
Then there is mental going, which is the mind going out toward an external object.
Oh yeah, doa, xin onwa sigre, tatsu sheba, chi la pa, chi ni ya tsu nang sheba la tsu, nang la tsu, sheba la tsu daga yunga dere.
And mental coming, which is the mind, after having engaged an external object, engaging an internal object.
Oh, 양에 대해서 숨 대시도 양에 세대 유 이도 원하다. 유 이도 원하다. 제외 심지 동안 때 진짜 청순 요래서.
And mental coming, which is the mind engaging, and sorrow, 4 through 6 are sorrow, which is the mental torment when separated from what one loves, and which has 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
어, 다들 내려서 시와다는 남도지 보다도 다 시와는 셈 시월 내봐. 셈 내도 주바도 아니 시와스나
7 is peace, which is the mind in a peaceful state, or the mind resting naturally.
이 두면 고어들.
Gupa.
어.
Gupa di tapa.
아.
Gupa di tapa imda. Geva di ani kun.
말말 숨대 장서로 냥에데 이도 원하다 미와 진짜 주숨제 숨도 살아와 다 고아들 시와선내도 저제 다 주와들 남도 없어요 남도 없어야 돼 아니 고방 심증은 똑바들라 남도 없어.
Next is conceptualization, which is a state of excitation or the mind thinking coarsely.
예, 다 되네 주바치들 주지 주니 조숨들이 직바들은 이도 원하 직바들어 직바타는서가 직바니 아니 이도 묘하다 체네 셈 잡아 때 내가 진짜 조숨 요래서.
Next is fear, which is the mind afraid of encountering unpleasant circumstances, and which has 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
예, 조숨제. 다 주는 주시정아 주로 순디 세바도 유를 셴바데스. 세바도 잡되자로. 셴바데 텔라 진지 조숨 요래서.
Next is craving, which is a desire, craving, which is mental adherence to an object, and which has 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
예, 다 단단히 세바세데 세바 무엇인지 거 무엇인가 세바 셴바 거 넘버치 멤버 유텔라 동안 세바 셰 딱바 임베 체베랑 신지 장시주 마타디 월 세바치 자를 디다 세바디 가가이 말 지직 시기가 가듯이 숨샤다. 아대시 주다고 장가제도 양 세바치 레레. 군이 세바디 다다티 에스 메다 이거로 어디시오다.
Here, craving does not have a joyous aspect, unlike desire listed among the 40 conceptions in the nature of the luminous radiance, or increase. It is called craving here since it yearns for its object.
렘바 네사 데지 유 남로 군도 제마스.
Next is grasping, which is a tight mental holding on to objects of sense desire.
이 접제버디 미교와니 계획래라 인이 싸워 라기 이스바스들다.
Next is non-virtue, which is one's own mental aversion or mental ambivalence toward virtuous action.
다들 주고받을 제바는 세드바오사.
Next is hunger, which is a desire for food. Next is thirst, which is a desire for drink.
한 이주따지는 자손 봐도 가래서는 소화 대두 다녀 숨 돼서.
Next are feelings, which are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and of which there are 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
소화 대두 다녀 숨 못해라 유지권은 천지 추숨 숨자 그래서.
And based upon the object causing the feeling, there are 3 degrees to the feelings, lesser, moderate, and great.
얘는 유서시부터 리버보 직세 아니 유상한부터 리버 제바스 니 잠들에서.
Next is the cognizer, followed by the cognizing.
오야 다디는 유자루바디 리제 레테 리제 레테서 텔라 대숨나서 똑바숨 세가 똑바 가장 나왔어. 가장 나왔어. 리제 레테스
아니, 리치.
알레오레 다다 리 당보 리바보세 아니 리바 제바세 아니 리바 제베 레숨라 똑바숨스 똑바숨스 제가 장같이 얘기도
Cognizer, cognizing, and the cognized, these 3 are 3 conceptualizations.
오야 다디는 유저들 모두 수수 똑바스 수수 똑바니 리바다 메리바 수수 제바 들어가서.
Next is fine investigation, which is the analysis of what is correct and not correct.
다디는 유저시부터 와자시바스들이 랑음 취지진도 체네 카나마도와를 젬바스.
Next is a sense of shame, which shuns wrongdoing for personal or religious reasons.
오야 단 유자고 받은 닝지는 동에도 전도 저월 되바오사.
Next is compassion, which is wanting beings to be free from suffering.
다디는 숨지바도 재와는 미지 유 용수 수와당 두바다 체벌 되바오사.
Next is affectionate love, which is wanting to protect the object of focus, holding it as beautiful, and wanting to be with it, which has 3 degrees, lesser, moderate, and great.
다 숨지 소지바들 도바스. 도바는 셈 네버 미네바오사.
Next is hesitation, which is a mind of uncertainty.
다디는 숨지 소니바데 사바스. 사바는 유지 뒤에 셈바오사.
Next is accumulation, which is a mind wanting to collect things.
다디네 숨지 속숨바데 차도는 시지 편조가 셈 추바오사.
Next is jealousy, which is a mind disturbed by other people's success.
여기까지 당분 나외가 신기 셰바 속숨생 장가도 어디를 얘기를 해서.
Those then are the 33 that characterize increase.
뭐다 되게 샤스다디 시비 담바들에 테스트 시작하고 테스트를 그들이 사고말 제가 제만의 셰바 주시 다시 안도 군도 제주 셰바 차림 리바 시험도 안도디 소숨디 나의 라식 셰바 소숨제 아니 체베라식 셰바 시주체 아니 녀도 라식 셰바 dü이체 다디 한번 멀쳐 다 셰바 차라 도단 리바 시나 전에 이게 장가되기 때문에 녀토는 야고 요래서.
Because the 40 conceptions characterizing increase involve explanation. 2, we will conclude here. The 80 conceptions ranging coarse to subtle, with the 3 kinds, that is, the conceptions that characterize appearance, increase, and near attainment. These 80 conceptions characterize these 3. 33 conceptions characterizing appearance, 40 characterizing increase, and 7 characterizing near attainment.
뭐야, 나는 대샤 아니야. 계제로. 대시야만 시랬던 거야. 돈 아니. 스물어 당스. 지소.
And we will conclude here, and if there's any need for further discussion, we may have that discussion. Last time, excuse me for one moment.
아니, 그러니까 되죠. 송쇼.
What you have on your mind that's here?
태민들 가서 민 가서 나서 태민 나 못하면 이거 숨었어. 태민들 다들 라버시 센티드 라버시 팀에 들어야 난게 다치 다 니니 가서 장요에 숨었어.
And in the dissolution stages, in the dissolution of physical elements, with the dissolution of each physical element, there are external indicators and internal indicators.
아예 가서 먼저 잠깐 뭐 제주자마다 가리켜버렸으나 정보되나 치 팀에 따들라 맹들라 사출로 되면 바스 바칼 사출로 되면 바 팀용비 아니 다 가르쳐 버렸으나 본보가 데 dimbatinala migi ombo rangyugi dube pumbonga timbanani migi ombonga nani migi omboche ya pumbonga nani dirwa pumbonga nani kare pumbonga nani suji pomboche pumbonga nani suji pomboche dachi suji niche 다 시류지 시 melonda 비치제 좀 제가 야 아니 가야 돼요. 다 뒤때문에 다 지금 사치로 되게 따로 시치고 지금 이거도 아니 미 오보만데 미지 오보 라유지 뒤에 따라 생긴 거 지금 같이 잡는 참 뭐가 나네 너무 뒤로 가네 해서 중앙아 감시 중앙아가 나네 본보가 나네 가래 조지 본보지 감시가 나네 사이 감시 계지 두고 나네
이제 저기 나네 아니 미기
미기 롱 미용으로 미기 계제 미기 계제제 아니 이시마이나니 시두지시 아니 가라 다시 상마
매번 따위시
말로도 미시 알면 예지 두고나는 시두지 라고니 같은 말 사이 감지 미기 온보지 라주지 뒤에 생겼으면 소지 통보제 년 중화도 되지 시두지 말로도 미시르시 말로도 미시지 이 시간은 말로도 미시 예지 두고나는 미지 계제지 다리가 어딘가 치다를 팀버든 맞지 아니 나기 따들 민가 따라서는 나기 따들 디바다 나기 따들 메디오 치 팀버다서라 유기들 맞지 미주다 보스 아들 팀림가 나기 따들 다보들 미주다 보스티 미주다 보스서 어예 니바들라 도와다 보스 도와 난게 따소서 도왔다고 시는 같이 가든에 숨바데라 팀을 숨바데라 디시다 팀을 숨바데라 가도 팀을 숨바데라 난게 따더라 나갔다 심부 메게다고 네 심부 메게다고 어예 가든에 시바데라 난게 따더라 마음에 바로 왔다고 난게 따시 라고 시티도 난게 따시 되어도 미지 직송자 산기를 맡으면 이제 그때 시제 두고 시기 모아서 나는
The dissolution of each of the physical elements, one into the next, is accompanied by external indicators and internal indicators. The first is the dissolution of the earth element into the water element. This involves external indications that the form aggregate has grown inactive. The visual sense faculty is inactive. It is not engaging the external sense-based provision. Reflected in this state of dissolution is the dissolution of the five basic wisdoms, the mirror-like wisdom. The internal sign of this stage is the mirage. It is called mirage light. Each stage of dissolution of the physical element into the next is accompanied by the external indicator and the internal signs. We'll leave aside the external signs for the remainders, but note the internal sign for the second dissolution, which is smoke-like, and the third, which is firefly-like, and the fourth, which is like a flaming lamp. These the internal signs accompanying the dissolution. We won't explore this any further now.
치기 셈 라바디 팀이 팀에 림바디 레온디 아니 치다 나게 다 센터 다니니 곰다 데도 치다노다 단다디 치림 모두 줄에 내가 비다 중림지 시에바라 땅 알아서 냠내지도 배나 가기 내줘 냠내지니나 아니 또 니마지가 당고 다지 공그래 다지 권마 전에 아니 기름 되게 마삼로 땅 깨서는 제마수 주고 드림도 지어도 아니 치거를 받기 시송체는 드림 지고 여러서 저는 냐면 그 아다 나가 내줘 냐면 신경들 이 다되게 돼 예벌도 장가다 아니 다되게 돼 민다 아니 즉 쌤도 싫어해 봐 속으로 해서
And in the dissolution of coarser states of awareness into subtler minds, each dissolution is accompanied by the external sign and the internal sign. These signs for dissolution stages at the time at which death is manifesting is one moment. The other relevant moment for dissolution stage with corresponding signs is in deity practice involving self-generation, where there are self-generations, then later there is gradual dissolution. In the gradual dissolution, for the efficacy of the practice, familiarity with the characteristic signs that go along with the dissolution stages is relevant. And then if there are no questions, we will conclude here and close with closing prayer. Jason has a question.
Thank you for that. I just want to know if I'm understanding this correctly. If a practitioner is in the appearance emptiness, are the conceptions, are they attachments? Are they things to be abandoned by the practitioner?
나와 순간 저의 아니 치워리 다들 지단데 아니 근도 기주디 방저를先把냥냥을 방저를
semra pago ragbago on shegiorwa ida ragwaido ko pakase pangere somos
Yes, they are to be abandoned. They are abandonments. They are coarse mentalities.
그 sem ragbago 가가 pak가도 오르면 그런 라면 가도와 이거 방제 차대 그래서
As one deactivates coarser states of conscious awareness, then they naturally are abandoned.
하다 군도 제주디 가가 나 단단가서 군도 제주 천지기 나왔음 천지기 군도 제주 장가 잡아라 이내에 나왔음 셔트 군도 제주도 가차래서
Now, these are described as 80 conceptions which characterize the three appearances. But at the moment of the arising of the three appearances themselves, already by that time, these coarse conceptions have become inactive.
가슴 나 군도 제주디 나왔음 셈 라바라 그 나왔음 셔는도 셈 육셈 육메셈 셔는 거라 그래서 군도 제주디 나 육셈 나 여마 라베선 나 여러 나왔음 셔래 고주도 군도 제주 가 차례스 이나야 나왔음 천지기 한 군도 제주스 앞에서는 뜻이 되게 여러서
For the reason that the 80 conceptions are coarser than the three appearances. The three appearances reflective of primordial mind and subtle. When the three appearances arise, already by that time, the 80 coarse conceptions are inactive. But in texts, the 80 conceptions are used to characterize the appearances.
Simply no shereti no sumi nara shani porukul chara mamushi kebra yudu kundo jejugi simgi no dis rabare no sumi simpe shimbu chawa chara bi porula des kada kundo jeju ga chani ani no sumi sharabo yasumasi.
More regarding the subtlety of what differentiates the 80 conceptions, which are coarse states of conscious awareness, from the 3 appearances, which are very subtle states of conscious awareness. That the difference between the conceptions, the 80 conceptions, and these very subtle minds of the 3 appearances, we will explore. You always do ask the pointed question most relevant to applying the material to practice.
군도 제주디 나숨 천지이나 아니 다 나숨 셔로도 군도 제주디 열에 열마르다 저디 배 마쇼를 해서.
And in debate again and again, the argument is made, if 80 conceptions indeed characterize the 3 appearances, then where there are 3 appearances, they would be necessarily characterized by the presence of the characterizing conceptions.
군도 제주 방자에 말했다고 또 유명하다. 다시 단지 잡아 나숨디 군도 제주기 나숨 성기 예나 아니 나 군도 제주 바가 나숨 셔도 군도 제주기 또보다 열에 열 말했어. 세라 아버지 가요 말했다. 미가가 계셔서 대셔고 그래서
You didn't put your question just the way the question is put in debate. Your question had to do with whether the conceptions are abandonments. But in debate, what will cause a person to crack an argument is the proposition that if the 80 conceptions characterize the 3 appearances, then isn't it necessarily so that where there are 3 appearances, their characteristics, then won't it be so that these subtle states of mind that are the 3 appearances involve coarse minds?
that being correct, and I'm going to Jeju Tanga my job. And I'm going to Jeju Tanga my job, and now some Chungo, that's a nang. And it is a job to any character, and it is a pit way, so much.
And so now we've enumerated 80 conceptions, and now that we have then 80 conceptions which characterize the 3 appearances, regarding the application of this, allow me to respond again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your teaching. I'm a little bit unclear regarding these 80 conceptions. So, is it correct to think that once you have the first 4 elements completely resolved, and then you enter the 3 appearances. So does it mean before I enter the 3 appearances, already 80 of my coarse conceptions have been dissolved? Or as it, included in the 3 appearances like this? So does that mean once I get through the first appearance of white appearance, then all those 33 conceptions dissolve during that appearance, or prior to that appearance, or after that appearance?
다드니 군도 예주디 아니 고착수
음.
간르스레 나 담간이 요래 제시 약수 님 먼저니 요브라 당보디 아니 예주디 말 나머디 마차르웨 응은라 아니 예주디 각 사르웨 제시 직제 양메나 제시 니버디 아니 나머지 난 사르네 아니 숨추서 숨디 가 로아 아니 드네야 아니 제버디 샤르 사르네 아니 하마 십지디 아니 가 로 사르와 다 두스 진에 레미신도 따뜻한 라니 여와
서울시라 나왔어. 애들이 다들 간다를 또뭐 제주디 빼져나는 듯이讲도 군도 제주디 나숨 천지 셈이 듯이 경여레스 다시 공지랍사인 봐. 이내 양다 천국이 여를 때 나숨 샤리온도 군도 제주 요마 로사 가사. 세상 니포르들 다 저바자서 녀라시 삼모당서지. 뭐 천주디 듯이 니버지 갖고 여레서 뭐지.
So you ask a very perceptive question. The texts present 80 conceptions as characterization of the 3 appearances. The 80 conceptions, do characterize the 3 appearances, yes, but at the moment of the arising of the appearances, already the conceptions have become inactive.
한가 군도 제주디 셰바라바라바나 장조 옹보시 르르 템베기 안한조 르단다 세 안한단다지 바게 단다지 이 세조라다 안다라 나조 레바가 내가 책임도 빈도에 레바가 따고 내가 책임도다 따고 잡아냐면서 민주다 세 가지고 계속 해주지도 지도 군도 제주 가대고 가도래 그 나와서 샤르기를 해서
The 80 conceptions are coarse states of conscious awareness. They are physically instantiated. When you have an observer who says the brain is active now the brain is inactive. The person is now unconscious. It is at that moment when the brain is inactive and during unconsciousness that appearances arise.
now from sharing 군도 제주기다 내가 제일 바로 고접사다 요말 군도 제주 그라 가차니만도 나왔음 샤 두고 말해 나왔음 샤도 양도 배나 샘들라 라과 신도 들어와 라과제 차와 신도 차왔어 다 나왔음 샤도 신도 차고 나와도 샤거래 샘 라과데 가사래 차와데 가사래 다 신도 차왔어야지 가야가 이번에 내려야 해서
The 80 conceptions are coarse states of conscious awareness. And when an individual, the coarse states of conscious awareness cease. They cease, and yet, even then, once they've ceased, the appearances haven't yet arisen for the reason that the appearances are very subtle states of awareness. And there are yet between the 80 conceptions ceasing and the arising of the appearances, subtle states before the very subtle states transpire. We've been proceeding referring to this particular text regarding these conceptions, whereas there are also in the various texts of the Mantrayana other explanations as well. So there are across the different Mantrayana practices, for instance, of Yamataka, of Bhairava, of Mother Tantra, Father Tantra, variety too in the characterization of the dissolution stages in some language, such as dissolution into the non-referential space and the like is used. This reflects a variety that accommodates a range in aptitudes in practitioner. And as you practice in the Mantrayana, you would fold into the other explanations, this one too, integrating the various explanations in your practice. And now we will conclude here. In the meantime, continue your studies and pair your studies with study 2 of Mantrayana, so that your questions may deepen, and in the meantime too I may refer to texts and furnish you with additional explanations. Lome mare di jondo wa ye nandre gewe wambur nangirsi. Dermo zumbe zera kundu yang jambe yangi zewe jesone. Tembe reba kusan lamji jo nyene rube gena nye jesho. Rangi shijin tobe langi ne shura tsewe chambe tabgi ki. Drowe iki mungpa seje ne yawe temba yurin zingiri chik. Temba rinjin choge ma jamba chabja nyambara gyurve chondere ne. Ninje chemba yera kyoba yi. Pende teze sewara chebara sho. Seje jawe menjun chindele lejo chanju kamye rimbe kya. Tarde namje yila pete shi. Yawe zeba ringo kyonkyere chi.
Gongsan Rupe Dungen Rupe Ching Gege Sije Midang Dimik Sera Bundu Gewe Mapa Yi Namda Lamdan Drewar Magirche Kanse Teba Chola Chuchu Ching Sujin Rula Zuba Deyi Se Tude Nange Tatu Rote Ching Tashi Gyaso Chugun Kya Guru Jiru. From my two collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of the paths of the complete teaching, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I hold Buddha's teaching for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment. And the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddha. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Dagi Jini Sabe Gewa Di Tendang Drowa Kunla Kampendang Chebara Jitsun Losan Draba Yi Tembe Nimbo Rindu Seje Sho Kare Rawe Korwe Shingang De Kendang Dewa Malu Jungwe Tere Sewa Tizin Yazo Yi Shabe Site Mahadu Dengirji Yambe Bawo Jidele Kimba Dang Kudu Sambo Deyan Deyinde Peda Kuyi Jesu Dalo Jiru Gewa Dida Tamji Radu Mo Yuzun Shebe Gewa Tamji Ge Ngowa Kala Chodu Mabade Daji Gewe Zawa Digun Gyang Sambo Juji Radu Mo Rage Chanju Senju Rinpoche Magi Bana Gigirti Geva Nyamba Meba Yang Kone Kondo Pe Water Sho. I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful sinners and sensing God, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra do, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious Daskan ones of the three times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhisattva that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Thank you.